Welcome to Hatfield's Candidates Forum. I'm Joe LaValle, the town moderator. This forum is set up to give each candidate a chance to inform town members of their platform, position, and intentions if elected or re-elected to town office. The population of Hatfield is approximately 3,200 residents. We occupy roughly 16 square miles, and we have the smallest and one of the best school systems in the state. We were settled in 1661, and we follow what is called open town meeting, which is our form of governance, using town rules since 1670 when our first town meeting was held. To learn more about our town, please go to some of our websites because we have a long history and it's very well documented. Each candidate tonight will have up to 10 minutes to make a statement. The contested positions up for election this year are for the Board of Selectmen, Marcus Jeff Boyle, member. He serves along with Ed Leschko and Janet Damsky. And the Board of Assessors, Stan Pitchko. The chairman is up for re-election, serving with Ron Punska and Larry Williams. Running against them in both positions is Christopher Smith, who has been an assessor in the past. There are many uncontested offices, and I'll list them here. Fran Goodgen for councilor for the Hampshire Council of Governments. Lydia Zish is running as the elector under the will of Oliver Smith. For the Board of Health, you have Corey Bardwell running. For Housing Authority, Donna Paddock and Stanley Szymanski. Nancy Little is running for Library Trustee. Lydia Zish for Town Clerk. And Greg Winters for Treasurer. There are some offices with no candidates. Write-ins are always allowed, welcomed, and accepted. For Cemetery Commissioner, for Planning Board, for Redevelopment Authority, and School Committee. Thank you for your candidacy and commitment to our town. It's greatly appreciated and most welcome. Now here are statements in alphabetical order, starting with the assessors and then followed by the selectmen.
Hi, I'm Stan Pitchko. I live at 65 Prospect Street in Hatfield, and I am seeking a second term as the assessor of the town of Hatfield. I have lived in Hatfield all my life, leaving only to serve in the Air Force during the years of 1977 to 1981. I know most of you personally, if not by name, at least by face. The Pitchko family has been in Hatfield for 4 generations. Growing up and living in the town of Hatfield has provided my wife Patty, my children, and me with so many good things, like an opportunity to participate on several community boards, volunteering with local community groups, participating in local festivities, sharing meals with caring neighbors, and reaping the benefits of a great education through the Hatfield school system, as well as being proud to raise my family in such a wonderful, safe, secure environment. Serving on the Board of Assessors is my way of saying thank you and giving back to a community that has provided me so much over the years. My first 3 years as an assessor were very exciting and rewarding. Exciting in the fact that as a board, we in collaboration with another firm reevaluated the entire town and successfully formed a solid relationship with the Massachusetts Department of Revenue, which improved our tax certification process considerably. My term was rewarding in the sense that I've been able to serve each of you and from time to time be a partner in solving your assessment abatement concerns in a positive, professional, and respectful manner. My approach is to treat you all with dignity and the highest regard to problem-solving, challenging issues relating to your assessments. Telling your story is an important aspect of understanding and reaching a fair and unbiased resolution. I only ask 2 things of you. First, your vote. Please take the time to go to the Hatfield Town Hall on May 21st and vote for me, Stan Pitchko. It would be an honor to serve each of you again with a second term. Secondly, please come to the town meeting. It is the truest form of democracy we have today. The economic direction and well-being of our town is driven by the articles, discussions, and votes taken on the floor. Hatfield's future depends on all of us together, and this is where those who come get to make the decisions that affect us all. I look forward to seeing each of you around town. Please don't hesitate to stop me. And as Ed Koch, former mayor of New York City, used to say, tell me how I'm doing. Thank you for your time and your consideration.
My name is Christopher Smith, and I'm running for the Board of Assessors against incumbent Stan Pitchko. I'm running for two reasons. The first is that the tax rate has gone from $10.47 in 2012 to $12.30 in 2013. And even if we don't spend a dime more at town meeting, it will go to $12.80 per thousand valuation next year. While it is true the assessors do not bear the bulk of the reason that this tax rate went up so high, they are to blame for it going up higher than anticipated. To explain this simply, select commercial and residential taxpayers got large reductions in their property values without applying for any abatement. So if you are wondering who those folks are, well, I guess I would suggest you look at where you see Stan Pitchko's signs, especially when you see more than one on any given property. Changes in the assessor's office began shortly after Mr. Pitchko became chairman. Each meeting agenda posted stated the board would go into secret executive session under reason number 7, which reads, to comply with or act under the authority of any general or special law or federal grant in aid requirements. The Attorney General's office has told me that the assessors must identify what law they are using and why it is necessary to go into executive session as follows. There may be provisions in state statutes or federal grants that require or specifically allow a public body to consider a particular issue in a closed session. Before entering into executive session under this purpose, the public body must cite the specific law or federal grant and aid requirement that necessitates confidentiality. Never once has Mr. Pitchko cited any law or reason to go into secret session. In fact, in their April 10th meeting, he told me that he was not required to tell anyone the law or reason for the executive session. So if you're wondering what you, the less privileged taxpayer, will have to pay to make up for the valuation reduction these more well-connected property owners who meet with the assessors in these secret meetings, let me tell you that in some cases, the reductions are quite substantial. How substantial? In one case, the commercial valuation got reduced by over $1.1 million. In another, $873,000, and several more at over $100,000. Personal property, the tax that businesses pay on business equipment, dropped by over $4 million, while many residential properties got as high as $70,000 reductions even when their building class showed an increase or no change at all in the previous year. To cover up these secret abatements, assessors voted in December 2012 to pay their online vendor to create watered-down versions of Patriot property record cards so taxpayers couldn't see when valuations were changed or by who, and most important, the actual breakdowns and conditions applied to the changes. Since January 17th, I have requested information from the assessors and have been denied access except to public minutes. I was denied a copy of the Patriot Property record card CD backup that the town has contracted for. I was denied revaluation reports such as land sales, land residual, and building classes reports. And of course, I was denied the Patriot change history that shows each property value change and who made it. Therefore, if I am elected as an assessor, I will assure you, the taxpayers, that the assessor's office will once again be transparent and the actual property record cards will be made available online and uncensored, and a full audit of the FY13 reval will be conducted and the results made public. The second reason I'm running, it has to do with Mr. Pitchko's moral and ethical character, and the fact that he has put his personal interests before the best interests of our town, and it is costing you, the taxpayer. Furthermore, he has used lies and deception, unwarranted fear tactics, and intimidation to achieve these personal goals, which are to deny an abutter his property rights and lawful use of their property. And this is an unacceptable abuse of political power and conflict of interest. I am, of course, talking about his anti-solar group known in town as Protect Hatfield. Here are a few of the slanderous whoppers Mr. Pitchko has publicly stated, and it is important to note that he has never said he is not also speaking for the Board of Assessors. He claims, without any proof, that solar energy causes cancer in children, that it will cause pacemakers to fail, damage sensitive electronics, interrupt cell service, and devalue all property, abutting property. He stands by these falsehoods, despite the recent Massachusetts study on solar safety that refutes each of these claims. And a study, by the way, you can find on our town website. Mr. Pitchko is a party to a number of lawsuits against the town and many town officials, such as the building inspector, the zoning board, costing the town thousands of dollars in legal fees. Also, through these lawsuits, he has blocked the legal building permit despite losing to ZBA, causing Citizens Energy to delay installing an estimated $8 million solar farm that would yield $98,000 in new tax revenue and likely another $54,000 in discounted green power for municipal use, all of which would have reduced your tax bill through a lower tax rate and for you as the taxpayer. While you may say, doesn't Mr. Pitchko have a right to pursue his own personal agenda? I agree that is true, unless that agenda is in conflict with the best interests of you, the taxpayers. Apparently, Mr. Pitchko fails to understand this. So on May 21st, Election Day, your vote will help him to understand that you, the voter, no longer tolerate his abuse of office and political power. In summary, for those of you who do not know me, I have lived in Hatfield since 1979. I am married with a son who has gone through our schools and is now in college. Beginning in 1980, I have served on many boards and committees, including the Board of Assessors. I work for a living as a printer and have a small business here in town. Also, like you, I am willing to pay my fair share of taxes, provided I am treated fairly and that the process of valuation is open and transparent. Thank you for taking the time to listen, and hopefully I will see you on Election Day at Town Hall on May 21st, 2013. And if you would like to support my campaign by placing a sign on your lawn, please stop by or call Hatfield Printing during any weekday. Again, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Jeff Boyle, and I'm here today to ask for your vote as selectman. The past few years have been challenging. The economy has affected not only Hatfield citizens individually, but government at all levels. Even so, Hatfield remains in relatively good shape, but challenges remain. In the short time I have available today, I thought I'd cover three things. One, a little bit about my background. Second, about some things that have been going on while serving as a member of the Board of Selectmen. And finally, highlight what I think are some of the key challenges in the way ahead. Before I get into all that, though, I'd like to offer a decision framework. In this upcoming selection or election for selectmen, you have two generally known quantities. Both my opponent and I have served in office for some time, and you've had an opportunity to observe our performance. And I'd suggest you can frame this election around an answer, your collective answer, to a series of questions. They're all interrelated. Who do you trust? Who do you trust to lead Hatfield over the next 3 years? Who do you consider best qualified by reason of education, experience, achievement? Who do you judge can work most cooperatively as a part of an integrated team? Because town business, town government is operating as an integrated team. No one individual runs the Board of Selectmen. It runs as a board, as a group. How you answer these questions, I think, will determine how you vote. In terms of background, my family came to Hatfield in the mid-19th century. They were farmers, operated the Boyle farm for many years. My own work experience has been in the military and the federal government. I was a career Air Force officer, retired with the rank of colonel. In the federal side, I worked as a member of the Defense Intelligence Senior Executive Service. Over the years, I've held a number of positions. For example, I was an Inspector General of an agency of 16,000 folks. I was Chief of Staff of a combat support agency of 10,000 folks. I was Director of an agency of some nearly 4,000 folks, and a number of others. The key point here, though, is the operating environment in these organizations all involve getting results in a team effort, all involve people, budgets, infrastructure, information technology, security, operating in a legal and regulatory environment, all the same kinds of things that relate to operating as a member of the Hatfield Board of Selectmen. And just as my background relates to the skills and abilities necessary for a selectman, so to my education. I have both a bachelor's degree and a master's in business administration. My civilian awards include the Presidential Rank Award. My military decorations include 3 awards, the Defense Superior Service Medal and the Bronze Star, among others. In addition, I've had the privilege of serving the town as your representative, your counselor on the Hampshire Council of Governments. I've served as the alternate commissioner to the Pioneer Valley Planning Commission, and along with several mayors from the region, I serve as a member of the Pioneer Valley Metropolitan Planning Organization, and I represent Hatfield and 16 other small communities in Hampden and Hampshire County. In addition, I've worked hard to maintain very positive relationships with town staff and the various boards and committees within town. I work closely with the Finance and School Committee. Twice I've served on the teachers' contract negotiation team with the school. I'm doing that right now. On the subject of schools, and let me digress for just a second, I think it's important, sometimes get lost, that the schools are us and not some foreign entity trying to get an unfair cut of available resources. And quite to the contrary, my own personal experience has been school administration and committee has been fiscally responsible at every turn, and they're responding appropriately to the very competitive school choice environment in which they operate. I'm pleased to say that I and the board enjoy a frank, constructive, and positive relationship with the school committee, and I'll certainly work to sustain that rapport. Now, the number of things I've been proud of having served on the Board of Selectmen, but again, it's a team effort, not one individual. And I respect and I want to acknowledge the contributions of my colleagues, Mr. Janet Amsky and Ed Lesko. When I first ran for selectman, I said my vision for Hatfield was a fiscally responsible community, creating its future while respecting its past. We are a fiscally responsible community. Without a degradation of services, and while being fair but certainly not generous with our employees, and while taking care of basic infrastructure requirements, Hatfield, and while serving as your selectman, Hatfield has had and enjoyed the second lowest tax rate of any city and town in Hampshire County, including last year. Now, there are a variety of factors involved here. Some date back a number of years to when Proposition 2.5 went into effect. And taxes are not an independent variable, they're a dependent variable. It depends on what services you provide, at what level, what projects you undertake, the financing of those things. I think the town moderator covered it very well in a letter to the editor of the Daily Hampshire Gazette when he pointed out it's not the Board of Selectmen, it's not the Finance Committee that sets the expenditures. It's you as the voter at town meeting, so please be there. As a team, the Board of Selectmen has addressed infrastructure requirements, I think, more systematically than in the past. We have plans for Town Hall, the Town Hall garage. We have plans for some water and sewer line improvements. We've made improvements along a section of West Street and attracted new business there and expanded our tax base. We have a second phase of a grant request for Center School, marketing it and doing a facility assessment. We've got a Connecticut River Dike Stabilization Project, which should get underway about the July-August timeframe. We've completed a financial management review that affirmed some of our practices and gave us ideas about new approaches that we need to be undertaking. We completed a town center business study, as well as a greenway study. Some of those ideas, is a resource of ideas in those reports. One of them, for example, the Open Space Committee is undertaking this year with a proposal for a park along adjacent to the town hall on the site of the old Smith Academy. We completed a contract with Comcast, a new 10-year contract, which will provide some funding for improving our cable TV program. We've been designated a green community, and let me digress for just a second talking about this. Talking to an individual whose views I respect, seems to be some misunderstanding about the support of the Board of Selectmen for solar. I wrote the charter for the Energy Committee. We appointed an Energy Committee. We shepherded through town meeting all the necessary legislative actions to be designated a green community. We got a grant, and I'll acknowledge the role of the Energy Committee in getting that grant. Executed that grant, just closed that out here a very short time ago. And we got a second grant that we executed through Pioneer Valley Planning Commission looking at solar rooftop, how we might, as a representative of a small community, facilitate solar rooftop. And we got a response back on our report from the Department of Energy Resources. Great report. So clearly the Board of Selectmen has been fully supportive of solar and other clean energy initiatives in the town of Hatfield. Most important, I think, is that we've provided a safe and adequate supply of water, basic emergency services, emergency planning, your plowed roads, inspection services, activities for our seniors, and through a strong network of volunteers, a variety of other support services. When you compare Hatfield to other communities, we're most fortunate. But challenges remain. For the longer term, we must broaden our tax base. We're overly dependent on just a few businesses. Back to my vision, there needs to be a balance between preservation and development. We can work that together. We have a backlog of water and sewer requirements that need to be addressed. They're not going to go away because they're deferred. We have an independent school system, which is, I think, a gem and an integral part of the fabric of this community that we need to support. It's not town versus school. It's us all working this together. So in closing, I return to the question posed in my introduction. Considering experience, education, achievement, ability to work in a team environment, who do you trust to best lead Hatfield over the next 3 years? That's the question you need to answer. You know my record. You know my opponent's record. The choice is yours, and it's an important one. I'm Jeff Boyle, and I ask for your vote on 21 May. Thank you.
My name is Christopher Smith, and I am running for the Board of Selectmen against incumbent Jeff Boyle. Let me start by saying that as a person, I have very high regard for Mr. Boyle, and I believe that he is a dedicated public servant, and I respect and admire his 6 years of service. That said, he and I have very different views about the future of Hatfield. Our primary disagreement is that he sees our municipal government getting much larger with more managers and usually from outside of Hatfield, and with more town offices, and which is not unlike the federal government from which he came some 40 years ago. I, on the other hand, believe we need to look to find ways to shrink our town government, work more with our local talent, find more efficient methods of doing things, and not be afraid of reaching out to nearby communities to develop mutual cooperative relationships. Following this model, which is a fiscally conservative one, will keep our tax rate under control while concentrating on a long-range plan to maintain our buildings and infrastructure by determining what services we need, what services we can best provide here in Hatfield, and what services are better outsourced. Following this model of keeping Hatfield a small town government will also assure lower budgets and lower taxes. Hatfield sadly has had a lack of careful and committed long-term planning and basic common sense. I often point to our sewer system as a primary example. The sewer plant is located at the wrong end of town, and because of that, we must pump the waste backwards, costing users 30% more in wasted energy and cost. The fire, police, and emergency planning office, soon to be housed in what was the old town barn behind Town Hall, is yet another example. Not only is the structure not designed to be energy efficient, it is in the direct path of the next 100-year flood. And remember that the last one of those was in 1936. I could go on, but I would run out of time. I also believe in transparent and accessible government and an independent local media. It seems that there are way too many selectmen executive sessions, that there are way too many selectmen meetings that are held during mornings when working folks can't get to them, and I support the petition to have our local HCTV managed and operated by an independent nonprofit organization that is separate from the control of the Board of Selectmen. In summary, for those who do not know me, I have lived in Hatfield since 1979. I am married with a son who has gone through our schools and is now in college. Beginning in 1980, I served on many boards and committees, including the Board of Assessors, and for 16 years, I was part of the financial team, so I have a very good knowledge of the town's budgets. So how can we together get our tax rate back to the 1047 as it was in 2012, instead of going over the $13.50 that is estimated to be the result of if all town meeting warrant articles should pass? As a town voter, I recommend that you save the date of May 14th at 7 p.m. to come to town meeting here at Smith Academy. When it comes to every money article, ask the Board of Selectmen what it will cost you on the tax rate. Ask how they came to that cost and whether there might be a better way or a grant or a less expensive process to accomplish the same goal. Then vote your wallet and vote your conscience. Then on the following Tuesday, come to the town election at Town Hall on May 21st and vote. Remember, you have a choice between higher taxes and lower taxes by voting for me, and you will get those lower taxes. Thank you for the time you've taken to listen, and I hope you will come to the election on May 21st at Town Hall. Also, if you would like to support my campaign by placing a sign on your lawn, please stop by Hatfield Printing or call any weekday. Thank you.
And now, here are the candidates for uncontested office in alphabetical order for the offices they're running for.
Hi, I'm Lydia Zish and I'm running for town clerk. Although I'm running unopposed, I thought this would be a good opportunity to introduce myself to those of you who don't already know me. As you know, our town clerk, Louise Slish, retired April 1st. We're all sad to see Louise go, but happy for her in her retirement. I live at 449 Main Street with my husband Michael and our two children, Lisa and Mike Jr., now 24 and 23. I've lived in Hatfield my entire life. My maiden name was Lydia Betzold. I grew up here, married here, and I still love living here. I'm very excited about working as your new town clerk and very committed to doing the best job that I can. For the last 38 years, I've worked for attorneys, first as a legal secretary and for the last 25 years as a real estate paralegal. I've previously served 5 years on the Zoning Board of Appeals, a few months filling in as an assessor, and for the past 9 years, I've been your elector under the will of Oliver Smith, which is the town's representative to Smith Charities. I've also served as past president of the organization known as STARS, which stands for Supporting the Arts in Hatfield Schools. Many of you may remember seeing me at the ball games behind the concession stand selling cookies when my kids were in school. I decided last fall when I heard Louise was retiring to run for town clerk. It was a position I thought I could do well and was qualified for. I was very committed to getting this position, and to get a jump start on the learning curve, I took a vacation time in October and November and volunteered shadowing Louise and learning all the work that it took putting on a major presidential election. I learned a lot, and I also learned and won't forget that there is a wonderful group of election workers in Hatfield that are a tremendous help to the town clerk during election time. Your town clerk is the record keeper for your town. Some of the responsibilities include keeping records of who's coming, who's going, births, deaths, issuing dog licenses, marriage certificates, birth certificates, death certificates, and posting many of the meetings for the town boards and committees. As a real estate paralegal, I've been on the other side of many of these transactions, working with various town clerks requesting birth certificates and death certificates. The town clerk also takes applications for the Zoning Board of Appeals and the Planning Board. Again, a process that I have been involved with many times working in a law firm. It was the election side of the town clerk's duties that I wasn't as familiar with, and that's why I volunteered in the fall and worked again during the primary on April 30th. Unfortunately, I won't be able to assist with the town election as I'm a candidate, but I will be there on election day outside, and I invite you to stop by and ask any questions that you might have. Louise has been a wonderful town clerk and has left very large shoes to fill. As you may have noticed, the name of the town clerk will change very little. Louise Slish to Lydia Zish. And I promise to work hard and to get up to speed as quickly as possible, so there is also very little change in the services that you've come to expect of your town clerk. I want to thank my family and friends who have given me their support and encouragement in running for town clerk. I'll see you on Election Day on May 21st. Thank you and have a great night.
I'd like to thank all the candidates for participating, and I hope you found this very informative. Please remember, annual town meeting is May 14th at Smith Academy, and our voting takes place on May 21st. Thank you for watching.